All right, everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video with Fat Phil. And in this video today, guys, we're gonna talk about ship farming tips, advice, and I'm gonna give you guys 2 ships that I think in the early game we should be focusing on, not only obtaining, but putting some resources into, whether because they are the best overall ship in the game, or because they're extremely underrated, right? So we're gonna get into this, guys. As always, if you haven't already, smash that subscribe button, leave a like, leave a comment. Our goal for November, guys, right? So in October, guys, we grew unbelievably fast. So my goal by the end of this month is to hit 1,000 subscribers. So smash that button. All right, let's get into the video here. And as you guys know, in every video that we do here, I have to proclaim my love for Wampa. That is because I signed a contract with absolutely no one that states that in every video I must hype up our king Wampa. So from the bottom of my heart, you are my favorite character in this game. I really wish your Omicron applied to every game mode inside of Galaxy of Heroes, because you are our king and we love you. And if you could, you would womp that subscribe button just like everyone watching this video should. All right, guys, ships. I want to give you guys some advice here that I think will help you not only in the early game, but throughout the your entire Galaxy of Heroes experience. So the first area we're going to look at is capital ships. So for this, we're going to talk about whether or not you should ever refresh the capital ship events. And for this, we can ignore the Malevolence, the Negotiator, and the Chimera, because the Malevolence and Negotiator are Guild Event Currency 2 ships, so we don't need to worry about ever refreshing their events. And the Chimera is a Journey Guide ship, so again, we don't need to be worried. You can get it to 7-star inside of the Journey Guide. We don't need to wait for the event. The next 2 we're going to discuss are the Finalizer here and the Radis, and that's down here. These 2 ships are needed for Galactic Legends and have events that rotate twice a month, right? It comes around twice a month. If this ship, right, if the Finalizer is keeping you from obtaining Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, then by all means refresh that event to get to the required amount, right? If that's the last thing you need for Kylo is to get this ship to 5-star, it's worth refreshing the event, because getting a Galactic Legend earlier is going to help you. Otherwise, I would not refresh this event. It's going to take you basically a year to get this 7-star once you unlock that event. The next ships we're going to talk about are your Home 1, Executrix, and Endurance. For these ships, guys, I wouldn't bother refreshing these events. It's just not one that I think is overly necessary. You're going to get these 7-star in due time, and so I wouldn't really refresh these events. It's not worth it. It just happens, right? You'll get it there, and you'll be good to go. All right, now we're going to talk profundity real quick. I know this one's new, but if you are watching this right now, the profundity does not need to be 7 stars in order to beat an Executor, right? So this is one that we don't really need to prioritize rushing this to 7 stars. The Executor, however, is one that I would try to rush to get to 7 stars as soon as possible, because at 7 stars, it has way more viability than at lower stars. So my personal opinion, if you're going to refresh, is the Executor. So the next sections will be a little bit quicker than that, because capital ships, I just want to make sure we get those out there, and they each need a little bit of help there. So now we're going to talk about how to farm ships, right? So as you guys know, if you've seen my farming guide, right, we've got a ship farming guide. I will link that in the description below. So when it comes to farming ships, you should be doing, at the bare minimum, 2 hard node ship farms every single day. That's bare minimum, right, is 2 ship hard nodes. That's because ships take double the amount of time as characters, right? So I'm going to show you an example here. Here's Kylo Ren's command shuttle. So it's on the same node as Darth Sion here. So Darth Sion has 2 shard drops, whereas the command shuttle needs 1. So the earlier we need to farm these early, right? And we need to farm them longer. So this is one of those situations, guys, where the earlier you are farming ships, the faster you are going to get that ship done, right? Similarly with like the Houndstooth here, right? This is one we want to be farming as soon as humanly possible. We're going to get Jango way before we get the Houndstooth, right? Because there's, 2 shard drops versus 1. But again, guys, make sure that you are farming this at 2 hard nodes, bare minimum a day. Obviously, if you can do more than that, please do, but that's the bare minimum, is 2 hard nodes per day. The next piece of advice here, we're gonna go into stores. For ships that are in like the guild store here, which would be like the Thai Special Forces fighter, Cassian's U-Wing is in here, we've got ships that show up in here, use this area to farm these ships, right? The Fleet Arena store we want to save for ships like the Razor Crest, the Slave One, right? Some of these harder to farm ships that you can buy in the Galactic War store here or here, do not use your fleet currency for. Save your fleet currency for those harder to obtain ships, you know, Razor Crest, Slave One, the Vader's ship, right? Those are the areas we want to be focusing with this currency, is those ships that you can't get elsewhere. Other ones, use your other currency for, and you're going to get through this game. You're going to farm ships a lot faster, and the sooner you get done with ships, not only the better are your fleets, but also the faster you're going to be able to get other things inside of the game. The next area I'm going to give you guys advice on is materials. So once you've got Cassian's U-Wing, we want to start focusing on shipbuilding materials and prestige inside a squad arena once you have your characters farmed out of here. These are 2 areas that you want to pay attention to, and we don't want to just waste these, right? Like when you get a ship, don't just upgrade it to level 85 right away. Only use your ships, only put resources into ships that you are going to use, right? We want to focus on the ships that you're going to use. Do not put resources into ones that you don't, because these are much more difficult to obtain than other kinds of credits and other kinds of ability materials. So save them, and use them sparingly. All right, so I want to talk about the most important crewed ship in the game, and that's going to be the Houndstooth. It sounds crazy that, you know, the Houndstooth is the most important ship in the game when there's so many others out there, but the reason this is so important, it's not only needed for both the Raddus and the Finalizer and Executor, right? 3 capital ships right there, but it's the most plug and played ship in the game. This ship is easily the best. It is held up for years. This ship has been in the game for 4 years, has never gotten a rework, and it's fantastic. So this is a ship we want to get as early as possible. We want to put resources into Bosk as early as possible, and the sooner you do that, the better your fleet will be, because he is so difficult to take out, guys. Just so difficult. The last point we're going to cover, I want to cover 2 highly underrated ships that most people don't realize. The first one is the TIE Silencer. So the first thing in here, right, is that each time it's damaged or damages a target locked enemy, it gains 10 turn meter and 15% offense, stacking until the end of the encounter. So it's going to build its offense, right? It's going to hit harder and harder. Its basic ability here, deal damage and stun them for a turn if they have more than 50% turn meter, otherwise gain advantage. This ship, guys, even if it's not, you know, you're not dealing tons of damage, you want to use it as utility and stun ships with more than 50% turn meter. That is so huge for your fleet. You do not know how important that stun is in ships. The next one here is its special. If this ship has advantage, this attack deals 100% more damage. If it defeats an enemy, you gain 20% turn meter and foresight. So how do you use this ship, right? Obviously, first order is the best, but outside of the first order fleet, you bring this ship on, normally I would say as a reinforcement, right? It's going to gain so much offense and all this stuff. But the biggest thing is that you bring this in, if you kill an enemy, it's gaining turn meter, foresight, you can put stuns on. It's just a fantastic ship early game that a lot of people don't realize how to fully utilize it, because even at lower gear, as that offense ramps, you will hit harder and harder and eventually be able to one-shot ships. The last underrated ship we are going to discuss here, right? And this is one that I think a lot of people will eventually get, but I think it's one that sometimes what's the wording I want to use here? That you maybe forget about how good it is because of some of the other ships in here, but it's actually Biggs's X-Wing. The reason Biggs' X-Wing is so good is because he's a tank, right? So where's his ability here? So right here it says Biggs recovers 40% protection and taunts for 2 turns whenever an enemy becomes target locked. There are so many ships that put on target lock, right? I'm going to go through just a couple here. So Biggs on his basic can put it in, right? Right here on his basic, he can inflict target lock. Other ships that put out target lock are the Imperial TIE Fighter here, First Order TIE Pilot, the Vader's ship here, right? Vader's ship on the basic, target lock, which can't be resisted. So you put Biggs in there as a tank, whether he's a reinforcement or in your starting lineup, and you put in ships like Vader's and TIE Fighter Pilot, right? Ships who can inflict target lock early, you are going to have Biggs taunting for so long. He's gonna just sit there, taunt, recover protection, and he can become very difficult to take out if you're not dealing with him properly. I think this ship is extremely underrated because of the new profundity coming out and that the Rebel fleet kind of fell to the downside a little bit, but this ship early game, guys, can be really, really important. I still think Biggs holds a lot of value. Otherwise, guys, the last thing I'm going to just say is pay attention to events that you can earn ships as rewards. Ships is something that is so difficult to farm, right? Like the Scythe here, right? That's in Conquest. A lot of people don't have Grand Inquisitor. Do your best to still get shards for this ship because it's going to take so much longer to obtain ship shards, right? Now, yes, it'll go into proving grounds and things like that, but got to remember with Conquest ships that it's a year after they're completely out of Conquest that they go into proving grounds. So if you don't really pay attention to this, you could be stuck behind this ship for forever with Conquest ships, right? And then you compare that to, I'm going to pick an example here like the Ebon Hawk here, right? This is a ship that you need for Rays, for the Raddus, for Admiral Holdo's fleet. If you put off farming this ship, eventually you're going to need it. So the earlier you get these ships done, the earlier you get all the rest of these ships, the sooner that you can unlock these fleets, get them to 7-star, and you can, get those Galactic Legends when you want them and not be gated behind ships. Again, guys, if you're still watching, throw ahead. Wampa is king in the comments. I love you all so much. I really appreciate all the support you guys have shown this channel. I will also link down below my Discord server if you guys want to join that as well. So go ahead, check those things out. May the force be with you, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.